Hello? The original video was removed by YouTube, so I had to re-upload the video on another website. Please follow the link in the description.
Recording cut out. What I was saying was forget about the red line, that's your insulin level. Either you don't have any, that's a type 1, or more likely it's just through the roof and not important anymore. Doesn't work, or your body doesn't respond to it, I should say, in that situation. So forget it. What we need to do is give your body the extra insulin it needs. So that's when we give the Novolog, the type 2. Mealtime coverage. Before you eat that meal, you check your sugar level. If it's in the range that you're supposed to have it in because of your good old-fashioned Lantus, acting all day, acting all night, now it's time to get those sugar spikes down. So we give the short acting, boom, right there, before breakfast, before lunch, before dinner, and before you go to sleep. What? And if you do that, and you give your mealtime spike of coverage, that causes your sugar level to also go back down. Oh, suddenly you're not up here anymore before lunch. You're down here, back in your normal range. Right? So we do the same thing. We give that extra mealtime insulin, preprandial, here. And again, that spike at lunch kind of gets controlled. And same with dinner. And your mealtime snack too, because I know you eat mealtime snacks. I know it. You're not fooling anybody. I'm a doctor. I know. You can't lie to me. This is where it gets complicated. So stick with me. What happens if you eat a cupcake with that breakfast you normally eat? Suddenly you got more sugar coming in than normal. That mealtime coverage isn't going to cut it anymore. You're going to need something extra. So what happens is, when it comes to your sugar, at lunchtime, the spike at breakfast was a little bit too big and it got stabilized, but not quite as much as it normally does. So when you check your pre-lunch blood glucose level, you find it's actually higher than it normally is. So what do? How do you correct that? Well, the answer is in that question. It's called correctional dosing, or correctional sliding scale insulin. I know you've heard of that before. That's when you take that Novolog, that fast-acting meal coverage, and you add a little booster to it in order to correct what you didn't cover for breakfast. You're correcting the cupcake. Now, usually these sliding scales range from anywhere from 0, which is you're at acceptable levels, to a little bit, like 2 units. Say this cupcake needs 2 units extra in order to get it down again and then make it a normal spike for the sugar absorbed at lunch. Or they can go as high as, I think 28's the high dose sliding scale, but you can customize it, or your endocrinologist and your primary care doctor can customize it based on your own regimen and your own body. Now we're going to go into an overview. So we've got Lantus, long-acting. It's usually once a day, sometimes twice a day if you really need a lot of it. But normally it's once a day. So that's number 1. That covers you for your general sugar level all day and night if you're not eating. Basal insulin. Number 2 is the short acting with the meals. Novolog, also known as Aspart, insulin Aspart. And then finally, we take the same stuff and we make a correctional sliding scale insulin to correct the prior meals. Cupcake. And just one more thing for those who take insulin twice a day. These people use a different kind of insulin. It's a intermediate acting insulin that also has a component of a short acting insulin to it. So I drew already here the breakfast, lunch, dinner, and evening snack, because I know you do it. I know. You've got the intermediate acting and short acting. And what that does is it causes an insulin that's short acting to cover your breakfast, and then an intermediate acting that kind of runs out before dinner. So what happens is the sugar spike that forms gets pretty well covered and goes back down. But when you have a spike in your lunchtime, it doesn't really settle down before dinner. You got no true short-acting coverage there. But again, with dinner, you get that spike that's the short-acting, and then the 12-hour. Yeah, it really does last 12 hours, I guess, but 12-hour acting, 8 to 12 maybe if I remember correctly. 12-hour acting to kind of get you back down to normal. Now, what's the problem with this? Well, the problem is that really the lunchtime never gets truly covered well, the lunchtime blood glucose. So if you check your sugar before dinner, it's going to be high. That's the nature of the game. Why do we use this twice-acting form that doesn't cover lunch well? Because it's cheaper. So the twice-a-day form is cheaper, but you got to pull it up in a syringe, like old school days. Anyway, that's the basics of what we're doing and how we're trying to reproduce the actions of the normal pancreas. I hope this was informative, and I can go into other details in the future. Just please ask on the comments on YouTube or on the forum, and I'll address it. But I think that this is the sort of thing you never learn about in diabetic education or from your doctor. So signing off, this is Dr. Roman, and please follow us on YouTube, our website, the blog, Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook, did I say that already? Twitter, everything out there, Pinterest, you name it. Please follow, and there will be a lot more like this where this came from. Seriously, it's all in here.